On Hey Steve Warren and Alex Ferdman from San Antone.
Oh yeah,
Alex Ferdman, I didn't know you were going to be in San Antonio.
indeed. He
I was going to
is.
make a comment about how I didn't call, otherwise I would have known. It's coming. I can feel it.
That's in the field.
It's in the field.
Hey,
Hi
Steve Warren, what's
everybody.
up, man?
By the way, I know this is like completely off topic, but if anyone has a chance to try something called a pluat, which is a combination of a plum and I guess an apricot, you should go and do that.
Are you ready for me to blow your mind? Do you
Are
know
you
who
eating one
invented?
right now?
No, do you know who invented the pluat?
Oh, is this Jordan's dad?
Jordan's grandfather.
Really?
Yeah, their whole farm was a pluat farm. That like if you have the best pluats in the world are the Brankwitz pluats, without a doubt.
Pluets?
Pluats.
Oh my God. It is, it's like the
Incredible.
crack cocaine of fruit.
It pretty much is.
Oh God.
And on
I
that
bit
note,
into one. I bit into one and juice. I mean, like, I'll show you the guys, the remnants. This was from me eating a piece of fruit. It's like so juicy, so good.
can I get you
Um,
focused now?
yeah, you know what else is juicy? Awareness. How do you like that transition?
Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I don't know. You got something working through your system. You go ahead now.
All right. Well, listen, we wanted to have you guys out here today because, as you may or may not know, we are in the process of launching a very, very new, very, very exciting, very, very cutting edge program in the next week. I mean, it starts actually August 4th. Next Tuesday is going to be the intro call, and the training itself will probably start the week after. Uh, for those that are going to ask, because I know you're going to ask, what day and time the program is running, I don't know the answer to that because the way we do this is on the intro call, we actually invite people to fill out on a calendar the times and days that they're available, and we pick a time and date that works basically for everybody. So people are from all over the world. We have already people signed up from the UK, people that are staying in Thailand right now. We got people in Greece. We got people in the States. So it's a mixed bag, but that's kind of how it's always been in our master class as well. So we've always managed to make it work. Um, so yeah, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that program entails today, give you some of the nuts and bolts, what the intentions are, and then at the end, we're going to give you an opportunity to either book a call with myself, or if you're ready to go and you want to, we'll talk about the interview process to get in. And if you just want to find out more information, we can book you on a call as well to talk to one of our team members to just get more of that information and see if this is in fact the right fit for you. So that's the intention of today's call. If you guys during any of this have any questions whatsoever, even if you're watching this on a replay, since I know a lot of you will, and you have questions, just drop them in the comments, or if you want, just message me personally. I will definitely answer you. I've had some amazing conversations back and forth with people on Messenger, so happy to support you in whichever way works for you.
Also, Elon will let you know where to pick up your bushel of pluats and
I, I won't.
how you can become an
Costco
affiliate.
happened to have them here.
Wow,
I don't know
shipping
what the availability is.
shipping around the world, shipping
Mm,
around the world. So,
seriously, it was really good.
so on that front, guys, let's just start with the call to action here, versus giving you the whole spiel. Again, like Elon said, if you're like, hey, I know I want to work with you guys, you go to getemotionalintelligence.com forward slash register, and that's where you can find out all the module information, program information, details, who this is for, who it's not for, intro video from Elon, whole bunch of testimonials so you can see people who've done this work with us. And you want to drop a deposit in there. The deposit is $500 tuition deposit. So that means if you join the program, that is applied towards your tuition if after the conversation with Elon and that application process you decide this is not for you. We just refund you the money. We don't want your money. We only want your tuition if you're actually participating.
Yep.
So I'll drop the link in there. That's the simple process. If you have been part of our curriculum before, meaning you were part of the 100-day masterclass or whatever variation it was called at different times, or you've done one of our recent 2-day events and you're like, I just know I want to be in whatever program you guys want to be in, that's where you want to message Elon directly. We'll just send you a direct checkout link so you don't have to go through the whole tuition process, et cetera, et cetera. With all that in mind, for those of you guys who are like, what is this all about? What are you guys doing that's different? So a lot. The reality is a lot. A lot is different. If you have participated in the masterclass over the last 5 years, um, the two guys that made that training are still the two guys in front of you. Yet those two guys are really, really not the same guys that are in front of you. Physically, sort of the same. Biologically, a lot has changed. Elon's still, yep, doing all that. He shaves everything, top to bottom. That doesn't
Not,
happen.
not true.
It's like I had a
Not true.
Pluat, so now I'm getting crazy.
This is a Pluat diet.
Yeah, Pluat. Okay, so the funny thing is like that was a good example of more old us. Like so basically what we've been working on the last 4 or 5 years, intensively, really intensively over the last four, but even started to make the shift before that, is we were really intrigued in ease. It really started with ease. How do you create ease in your life? We had met one individual that many of you guys probably do know without going into all that story. And what we saw was this person lived with ease, had a dream lifestyle, was manifesting left and right, partnerships, clients, this, that, and the other. And honestly, we had never really witnessed that before, not really, where somebody didn't seem to be working hard or trying to achieve more in order to do that. Because we did come, like many of you guys, from the entrepreneurial business world. That whole world is about how to survive better in this world, how to struggle more, how to work your ass off, and all the beautiful memes that you see flying around the internet that are telling you to aspire and work your butt off and do
24/7,
all,
365, bro.
yeah, to do all those things. We had bought into that model, worked inside of that model, and honestly, to an extent, all of that worked for us. However, when we looked at the sustainability of the level of work that we were putting in, the results that we were getting, what we saw is most people don't really put in that level of effort anyway. Very, very few. Um, and it will appear that it's only those who put in that level of effort will get those results. Yet we met this individual who was getting 10x those kind of results that most people get, barely putting any effort at all. And that was the start of kind of this process of like easing into it. Little did we know that process had a lot more to do with balancing our energetics than it had to do with another thing to understand. And that began an initial 2-year process of us looking at really how to balance the masculine and feminine energy in our bodies, which ultimately led to something that we had never heard of, had some experience with, but really didn't have many distinctions around. And that was this art of subtle energy practice, right? So the course that you guys are looking at and what we are inviting you guys to participate in is what we're calling our emotional intelligence. I should have done the how now brown cow before all this because my mouth is just,
Sent out so many messages yesterday, and every like it's a new term for us, and every time I try to say it, it was like a tongue twister. I was like, wow, we really should have said this out loud a few more times before we named a
yeah,
course this, because it's a tongue twister.
yeah. The quick brown fox jumps over the fence. How now brown cow. Basically, we are just creating an umbrella curriculum. So we have Emotional Intelligence Mastery, or EIM, level 1 and level 2. What we're inviting people to is to participate in level 1. However, if you do have a conversation with us and you're like, this is it, I get it, like this is what I want to do, then at L2, it's actually a year-long process with us, a year-long program, a year-long curriculum, a year-long experience with us. And L2 actually includes L1, and we actually throw L1 in. right? So L1 by itself, just standalone, is a $5,000 program. If you go L2, we give you a $5,000 discount, and we actually include it in that curriculum. So you can do both, and you can actually prolong your exposure to this kind of work. So the intention with L1 is to basically take you from somebody who's been in the personal development world and what I would call more of a personal intelligence, personal transformation world. And this is a shift from operating inside of a realm that only has to do with how to survive better. And I'm going to pause there because I want you guys to realize that probably most of the work you've done up until now, if not all of it, me included for the most part, has been about how to survive better in this world. Our aim is to shift you completely out of a frame of survival and into what we call is like an evolutionary way of living, right? Not revolutionary, evolutionary way of living, meaning you actually align yourself with the universal principle of evolution, and you become a person who can flow energy through your system so fluidly that all experiences, both positive and negative, which does not mean good or bad, it just means positive or negative, move through your system with ease. And what this allows for is a type of intelligence, a type of environment that you can create within your own body, within your own energetics, that allows for what humans call trauma to move through the system naturally and create natural healing in the body. So instead of having to understand why you have trauma, why your mom did this to you, why your dad did that to you, why this bully at school, now you feel this way, why you were the bully at school and why you feel this way, whatever it might be that you've been trying to understand and let go of, notice that even if you have a lot of understanding around that, you know where it started, you know why you do those things, you know why you're motivated by those things, oftentimes something happens and you still get sucked into those old programs. And then even worse, you start making yourself wrong about those old programs because you're an intelligent person, you've done the work, and you even understand why you're doing it, but you can't seem to stop that. So really what's going on, and again, it's a very simple diagram, is you are having sensations happening in your body, and your mind is responding to those sensations as a protection mechanism because you developed it however you developed it to create more safety in your life. So this work is not about you gaining more knowledge or understanding so you can manage your system better. It's about actually working with your system directly, creating an environment that allows for your system to literally release the energetics, the subtle energetics that happen in the body, so that the mind no longer has to respond to a threat. We're basically removing the thing that the mind responds to, not us, you are working with your own body to clear and liberate the energy that the mind has to respond to like it's a threat. So as you do this work, here's the big difference. Here's what I've seen, and then I'll let Elon chime in here too. Personal development has diminishing returns. It just does. When you
Great way to
first
say it.
when you first do personal development, Elon has this new analogy that I like that he's using. It's like you're looking at this table, you want to clean it up, and there's all these big objects, boxes, and things that are really obvious. So you're like, oh shit. So you start like cleaning all this stuff up. Eventually, though, the table's pretty clean, but what it still has is this fine layer of dust. And the table's still not clean because it has a fine layer of dust. This work is about that dust. It's about the granular stuff in the body that you really can't see with the five senses. You could only sense with what we call sixth sensory perception in the scientific realm, but it really just means becoming aware of subtle energetics in your body. That's what the sixth sense is a subtle awareness. It's like what cats and dogs use, right? Like to be aware of their environment in a really fine way. And with this work, where personal development, you'll see like you have these big pow, 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 like these big growths, and then it's kind of like, everything kind of sounds the same. I already understand that, I already get this. So it kind of starts going down. You're not getting so much from the work. This work is the exact opposite. This personal intelligence, personal transformation work has an ever, like infinitely growing, increasing returns. Actually, the more you do it, and the more you become aware of these processes, the better the returns actually get. You'll have more healing, more inclusion, more connection, more love, more ease, more synchronicity, like across the board, everything that people are like, more, I want more, more, more of that, like more of that, all of that. And it's not even like that could happen to you. It's a guarantee as
Yeah.
long as you continue the practice. And we're talking like not something you need to put hours aside a day unless you choose to, which can certainly enhance it. But we're talking like 10, 20 minutes a day, if that, right? It could be 20 minutes a few times a week, and you'll see major returns on this investment. So that's a huge, huge difference. Like this is the type of path you walk when you want to see the things that have been relegated to books of science fiction become science fact in your life. The type of energetic gifts, the type of level of healing that is truly possible for every single one of us. That's what this program is about. That's what we've steeped ourselves in for 4 or 5 years. And then, you know, the last bit for me here is like it's to me, it's only responsible to start teaching this stuff when you start feeling like you've started walking the path of mastery with it. And even going back a year and a half, 2 years, I couldn't have said that that was really true for us. We were like dabbling with this kind of training with our one-on-one clients. And
Exactly.
then, yeah, only with them because it was like it was a playground, it was experimentation. We had that relationship to do with them. We're at a place now in our training where we're no longer a practitioner, we're no longer a student, we're no longer a student or a practitioner. We're starting to walk the path of mastery, which is an infinite path. I'm not saying we're masters because mastery can take lifetimes, not even necessarily a lifetime. However, we're clear that for those of you guys that want to start becoming students and practitioners on your path to becoming a master, we can absolutely take you through that journey and get you there. And that will unlock all these things that I'm talking about here.
Yeah. So here's what I want to just you to inquire within. If you want to find out if this is the work that's right for you, here are the questions. Are you have you started like if you started personal development a month ago, I can probably attest that this is not going to be a program for you. Like there's other things that you can do that can build you up to receive the level of information that we're going to be sharing at these programs. Like this is not 101 personal development and spirituality talk, okay? So that's one. Two, if you've done work for a while and you find yourself right now where you're reading books, do the books start to sound the same? Like, are you reading stuff and it's like, nah, I already kind of know this. They're just saying it in a different way. Then you want to listen up, right? Have you found that this kind of like personal development thing where someone taught you to go back to this event in your life, start to understand what happened at this event, what did you make that event mean, and then start to pattern like how that event has impacted your life. If you've done that work and yet you still come back to the same thing, whether it's the I'm not good enough or the failure conversation or the I'm stupid or I'm alone or I'm not loved, whatever your version is, right? But like you've done that work and you keep hitting that same edge over and over and over, this works for you. If you're someone who you've put in the time, the money, the effort, and like Guy said, it just kind of feels like whereas before you were skyrocketing in your growth, now it's kind of like slowed down and you find that you're searching for that high again. Like you're searching for that peak, that whoa, blow your socks off moment. This is the work for you. And I speak to you from a place of having gone through all of that. So I'm not just saying this to you. Like you're probably a lot smarter than Guy and I are because it took us about 12 years of doing that work to one day, and I'll tell you my story. Like I was working with a coach at this point, and we were looking at something, and I went back to the same 3.5-year-old story that I visited, no joke, like thousands of times before. Thousands. Now, granted, every time was a slightly different layer and every time was a slightly different like angle that I looked at it. But I sat there And I actually felt nauseous because the thought that entered my mind was, I was 32 at the time. And I was like, okay, let's say I live to 100. And I just want to be clear, like Guy and I would do what we do personally, whether we had this as a business or not. In fact, we were doing it for 8 years and working in finance. Like it's not about the coaching. Like we love doing this, but you guys here or not, we're doing the same level of work, right? Like we love this work. We breathe, eat, like this is it for us. So for the next 100 years or till I'm 100, I was like, this is what I'm going to be doing, right? And then I was like, oh my God, if I have to keep looking at this fucking story when I was 3.5 years old for the next 70 years of my life, and I got nauseous, like legitimately sick from the thought that I'm gonna keep looking at the same fucking story. And that I remember that moment, and I went, there's got to be another way. And sometimes I don't know if you've heard this sentence, but like the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions that you're asking.
Yep.
If you want a better life, start asking better questions. And what I would assert is that when most people do personal development, the question, you can frame it however you want, is how it's somewhere in the vein of how do I get rid of this or how do I fix this? So if you're out there trying to fix yourself, like how do I fix my lack of money? How do I fix the fact that I'm alone in relationships? Like if that is the energy behind it, I can pretty much roadmap for you what that process is going to be like. You're going to get something. It's going to be like, oh my God, I didn't know this about myself. This is so exciting. And then 2 days later, you're going to be doing the same shit. And you'll be like, oh, that didn't work. Wah, wah. Let me go find that next thing. Told me it was this. This is going to be the thing that makes all the difference. 2 days later, doing the same fucking thing. If that is you, and I'm telling you, like, this is from straight my life experience. I can tell you all the stories of how this happened. But that day, I remember I sat there and I went, you know what? I'm no longer interested in understanding why, how, when, and what of these events. I'm just not.
That's
Because
exhausting.
I felt like I was going around in circles.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the circles took longer to come around the more of this work I've done. But it was like every time the same thing got triggered, the same I'm a loser conversation. And I was like, I'm sick of fucking looking at this. So I started to ask, I was like, I wonder. It wasn't like, oh, someone show me how to. It was just this thought of like, I wonder if there's an actual way to heal this and remove this stuff forever. Not as a permanent, not as like a temporary thing, but like a permanent thing. And for the last 5, 6 years, that's been the inquiry. That's been the question that's been driving Guy and I. And that has led us to some incredible, out of this cosmic universe experiences, sometimes with medicine, sometimes with experiences, sometimes with people, sometimes just in a room in an energy. And we started to realize that, you know what? You can. You can absolutely heal these things and stop putting band-aids on them and actually like heal it once and for all. So that the next time you're in a situation, whether it's in your work that's expanding, whether it's with your health or in a relationship, your normal patterned responses and the things that you know would trigger you are just no longer there. Just not. You don't have to like manage and overcome. You don't even have to have enough awareness to go, oh, you know what? When I'm in this type of situation, I know that this is going to arise. So hold on, let me get myself all centered and let me do that thing that everyone told me. And I'm going to visualize and I'm going to breathe and I'm going to really sit here and I'm going to, okay, all right, I'm ready. all right, okay, I'm going to walk into mom and dad's house. Like, you don't have to do any of that stuff,
Freaking mom and dad, always getting
right?
you.
Because, like, you're there and the reaction just, it never comes. And I know that for most of you, it's like, that's not even, because you're probably listening from the mind. And I know, because like the mind is always wanting to understand, like, how, like, that's what it does, right? And it's it's almost impossible for you to get that that's actually a possibility and a reality for you, because you've done all this other stuff and it's worked, but not worked to where you want it to be. And so to hear me be like, oh, there's this other thing here that you can do and it'll all go, your brain's like, fuck that. Like, that's impossible. You know, like, I've done all these other things. I've read all these things, right? Like, and I'm telling you from experience, because I was there. And like I said, we have every day, not like every other Thursday, every day, every day, multiple times a day, we created practices that we can show you, that you can put into your life, that will stop the reactions that have been driving you nuts. They will just cease to exist. And the coolest part, and this was kind of like an added bonus, we didn't even realize that this was going to happen. These things that are running your life right now, I want you to imagine it's like a trapped ball of energy. So there's this energy that wants to constantly circulate right through your body, around your body, etc. But these blockages just stop that energy. It's like kinking a hose, right? If you kink a hose, the water's still going to run on the other end. It's just going to run a lot slower and going to take you a long time, right, to do whatever you need to do. When you unkink, when you remove these blockages, what's amazing that happens, that was like we didn't really go into the work thinking this, there are gifts that you have. Most of you are like highly intuitive and you have no idea. Some of you might even be healers and you have no idea. Others of you will have like auditory premonitions, sight premonitions. Like, these are gifts that we all have, but they are through the years kinked. Like, if you told me 5 years ago that we would do this work and I'd be able to sit in my room and track someone's energy system to let them know that there's a constriction in their heart, and then be able to track where their awareness is and guide them to that and help them open all these stuff up, I'd be like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And I think I would agree. And like, these gifts just keep coming online the more work we do. So I don't know what your gifts are, but I can promise you that if you keep doing this work, some really cool, magical wizard shit is going to start happening in your life. And you're going to be like, I don't even understand how this happens. And
That's
I
what we
don't
should.
either, by the way.
That's what we
But
should have
it's
called the
really cool
program.
when it does. Yeah.
We should have called the program "Really Cool
Wizard
Wizard
shit.
Shit."
It's even more of a tongue twister.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm inviting you to play in an arena that is unimaginable to you right now. And I get it, because the mind is just blah, 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 right? But if you can just put that aside for a second and listen to your heart, right? Like Jivan saying, like, this so resonates. Steven, who I know is already committed to level 2, he's clearly resonated with it. Jessica, right? Like, that'd be so peaceful. If you can find that deeper part of you, and it might be saying, like, screaming, yes, like, that's what I want, I would urge you, because that's the first step in trusting and starting to embody this intuition that we're all gifted with, and the thing that we're going to be talking about. So for the 90 days, we're going to like enhance that to the point where the mind no longer has to figure stuff out. or make decisions. You will just be guided
It becomes
internally.
it becomes your new reality. Like
Yeah,
this program is about setting a new foundation from which you view, live, and experience life. Full stop. Like
full stop.
it will be a stark shift from how 99.9% of the living public right now is viewing. Certainly current events, right, are exasperating that, and also providing an opportunity for more people to step into this work. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're motivated intuitively to do this work with people now and bring this through, because more than ever I feel, I've been saying this since this event started, it's you're either digging yourself down in a hole or you're learning how to design your life to get out of it. Right? This is not about manifesting, although that certainly comes into play here also, but this is not like, hey, we're going to teach you how to manifest. You don't need to learn how to manifest.
You're manifesting already.
Humans are always manifesting. We can't stop manifesting. It's all we do. The real question is, what are you manifesting? Now, if you have a frequency, a resonant frequency in your body that's low, it's going to resonate and create things that come from low frequency vibrations. If you're super high frequency, by the way, also not balanced, by the way, right? That just means you might have a lot of things happening, but there's probably a lot of disarray in your life too. You probably know a lot of very excited people in your life that jump into a lot of opportunities and a lot of things happen to them, but they're constantly dealing with a lot of stuff that's like, in disarray and in disorder. Also, not exactly what we're looking for. We wanna, it's really about balance. It's really about neutrality. The body heals itself when it's neutral. Just what it does. There's more ease. Like, where do you want to be creating your life from? Do you want to be created from tension and survival all the time? And you're in that state trying to get yourself out of it all the time, trying to change your circumstances so it goes away. But then from that tension and anxiety, you just create more experiences that create more tension and anxiety. That's what ends up happening. We loop in these energies. So until we can get the body to rest, this is already science, right? This is get you from parasympathetic to sympathetic, which is what this training is about. It is how to get the nervous system through the energetics to a sympathetic response, a rest and digest response, and the body just naturally starts letting go of stuff. If you are not healing, if there's traumas that you're emotionally and mentally hanging on to, I would offer, and I'm telling you this, I could speak for me, but I would offer that what is happening is that you are living in a perpetual state of a fight or flight response. If fight or flight didn't work for you, then you are probably in freeze. Like you just freeze. You feel an inability to move around, walk, or do those things. Most of the planet is stuck in some kind of fight or flight response. Freeze includes a fight or flight response. They've been there for so long. It has become so regular, and we amplify it through coffee and substance abuse and sex and pornography and all the things that we do, right? And this is not, don't do any of those things. We're not saying to not do those things, but it's what we use to subvert ourselves from actually learning how to regulate our nervous system, how to regulate our bodies, how to regulate our energetics. That, unfortunately, is something that is not taught.
Yep.
And that dysregulation is then passed down from generation to generation. So if you have young kids at home that are before 8 years old, and you see that you're passing on some of those traits that you're like, fuck, why am I doing that to them, right? Like, why? Oh, wow, they're starting to show those characteristics too. This is why it's an energetic dysregulation that the kids are just gonna. We just pass it down. It's like information being downloaded from one generation to the next. We do our best, right? Like Elon and I are not perfect parents. However, what we see is as we regulate our systems, our children naturally regulate their systems more, right? And then you have a lot more help. Yeah.
Jivan is like an amazing example of that. She's been practicing that with her son.
That's right. So, again, this is not about hard labor. This is not about understanding a lot. It's about honestly really, really simple things that you get to become aware of that have been swirling around you your entire life, but nobody's pointed at it. So it's like not knowing that there's air, right? It's just this invisible thing we can't see until somebody goes air and you're like, oh, I'm breathing in air. You wouldn't have an awareness of that. And what's important about this kind of training is that you have a person who can energetically track their own system, track your system. So while you're going through experiences, they can point at literally what's happening inside your nervous system so that you can start growing a conscious awareness of it. And then when something arises in your system, when a dysregulation arises in your system, it's really clear what's going on. So then you're not sitting there trying to figure it out, losing sleep at night. What's going on? How do I stop this? Oh my God, I need to have this conversation. They're to blame. I'm to blame. Like all that craziness that, again, all of like that trying to understand it, honestly, just creates more dysregulation because it creates more anxiety in the system because we're trying to latch on to something that makes sense that we know. But here's a reality. Reality is too fucking crazy to make sense of.
Mhm.
So the only thing we can do is work with what we always have. What's, everybody knows this in spirituality. Get present. Okay, well, get present. How? How does one get present? But you will not get present from the mind. The mind doesn't know about presence. It knows about worrying about the past. It knows about fear in the future. That's what it knows about. Your body, your energetics is what's present. So um, it's really about learning how to and training yourself to feel in a way that most people will probably go to their graves without ever having an experience of, or have like sparse experiences that don't really stick. Like we take people to Colombia to drink ayahuasca in order to basically like peel back all these conscious layers so that they become like acutely aware that there is a whole other reality sitting under this reality in the energetic space. And when they're there, they're like just basically at this point of regulation, and a lot of healing happens very rapidly. That's amazing, right? Like that's incredible that there's something on our planet that has that capacity. It's a tool. However, when you walk away from that experience, you're no more trained than you were the day before in how to access that plane of reality at will. What we're talking about here is how to access that plane of reality at will, how to train yourself to actually work in those spaces. And that's why Elon said some of you guys are healers and you don't know it. Because once you get some of these things turned on, you're going to start noticing things about yourself, your life, and the people in it that you would have never noticed before because it's like you're just experiencing life through five senses, and that's what most of the planet limits themselves to. The five senses were designed for survival. That's it, right? So if we don't take the time to develop this other aspect of our spiritual selves, then we will forever be stuck in this game of survival. And the type of peace that I know most of you guys want to see, cohesion, love, unification, higher level of evolution, is not going to come because somebody finally writes the perfect book and now we're like, oh, that's what we've been missing.
You're ruining it for them.
Yeah, it ain't coming. And I'm not telling you to stop reading the books or take those courses if that's what your heart desires, because there's an incredible amount of value in personal development. But like Elon pointed to, if you're seeing that cycle over and over again, I'm like, oh, this kind of just sounds the same with a little bit of a different twist. I've read hundreds of books. They all kind of sound the same. Everyone's just twisted a little bit different. That's like, that's interesting. It's cool that they look at it that way. This is not that. This is learning your authentic self. This is starting to trust yourself so much to know what's true for you, what's good for your body, how to regulate, how to say yes to things that are in alignment to you, no to things that are not in alignment to you, yes to environments that work for you, yes to relationships that actually work for you from a real, authentic place. To stop doing the work on them because it makes you uncomfortable that you want to change but they won't change. All those things that don't really work is all sourced from this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So unless there's anything else that you want to share, I would say let's just invite them to take that next step.
Yep. So
Yeah.
the links are in the comment box.
So
Again,
there's two. You dropped which one? The register link?
yes.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, if you've never done our masterclass, for example, or you haven't been to a live event of ours or anything like that, just go to that link, or even if you have, go to that link. You can find out all the information there. It breaks down, like I said, who this is for, who this is not for, what we're going to be covering in the modules, what the breakdown of the program looks like, time-wise, etc. So we won't have to go into that right now. And then again, like the $500 deposit basically gets you like a spot to talk with me. So you're going to fill out a questionnaire, and I'm going to interview you just to make sure that you're the right person for this program. Like I said before, this program isn't for everybody. We are absolutely clear on that. And the first time that like we take people through this, we want to make sure that the best people are in the room. So when you take that deposit and you take that step, then that conversation, like I'm not saying be worried or anything, but like we'll have an open-ended conversation about where you are in life. And I'll be very honest, like whether this is going to be a good fit for you or not be a good fit for you. And then you can choose, and we have different payment plans and different payment options that you can choose from. If you have been through the master class or one of those programs, you don't have to go through that page. You could just message me directly, because we know the foundational work that you've done. We know that you're a good candidate for this level of work. And then I can just send you to a different page that you can just pick a payment plan that works for you, and you can save your seat. Here's the caveat. August 4th is the introduction, meaning that today is Thursday. Next Tuesday, we have our introduction to this course. That doesn't mean the training actually starts that day. That's the intro class. So the people of the class will select a time and date, and that will be, either the week after, most likely will be the week after, depending on what day they choose. But you have basically from now, think like you have at most about 7 days before that first class hits, 7, 8 days, let's say. So take action, and take action quickly. We have a bunch of people that I'm already having conversation with, a bunch of people who are already registered. So feel into this. If your heart resonates with this, just jump on it, take action. If you have any other questions, there's something you get off of this and you're like, oh, I should have asked that question. Just message me. Find me on Messenger. Clearly, I'm here on Facebook. Find me on Messenger. Shoot me a message. I will get back to you very, very quickly. Otherwise, yeah, we are incredibly excited. And I can tell you this with full certainty, there has never been a program like this created before. This takes, this is like the beyond personal development course, if you can look at it that way. So yeah, if you're ready for that kind of level of the beyond what you've done, you've kind of maxed out of what you've done, then definitely go to that page, register, contact me, etc. If you want to find out a little bit more, also message me, because we actually brought on, because we're having so many conversations, we brought on a support person to help me like have as many conversations as possible with people. So he can walk you through the details of the program, really get intimate with like where you're at, where you want to go, and again, just guide you whether this would be a good fit for you or not, even before you make that $500 investment or whatever it is. So yeah, anything else, bro?
No, that sounds perfect. Yeah, and again, if you didn't see the link for any reason, it is getemotionalintelligence.com/register. Getemotionalintelligence.com/register to put that deposit in. Okay, friends. Awesome. Thank you
All
for
right,
joining us
everybody.
today. We're excited to start working with you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Oh, one last thing.
Yep.
If you have someone, family member, friend, etc., that you want to do this with, or you think that this would be amazing for, you can obviously share this live with them. You can share the link or add them to the group and have them watch it. Or if you want to make like a personal intro and they want to talk to me, then I will do that for you as well. And in addition, we give every single introduction 10%. So if your friend joins, you'll automatically earn $500 that you can use as credit towards your program, or keep and spend at, whatever you like to spend that money on.
Go to Vegas.
No one's going to Vegas anymore.
No one's going to Vegas, especially not after they do this program. All right, love you guys. Thanks for
Bye,
your
everyone.
thanks for your attention today, and we look forward to working with you. I will figure out how to speak before the event starts. I promise. All right, bye everybody.
Later, everybody.